I'll do it. I'll do more. Do more same day. Malvi ready here. I'm your host who loves you the most. Yeah, even you. Yeah, like this. I'll do it like this. Today continue with the Godot. Day 10 for me, Godot learning. How would I summarize all this? I would summarize this like they say it's a tutorial, for example. So I'm reading the manual, the Godot engine manual, and I went from the manual section and I've been to applying object-oriented principles in Godot, scene organization. I went to use scenes versus scripts, and then at auto loads for me it become very vague all together. But well, I did read all through, but what was driving my focus, weakening my focus on it, was the constant idea I had to try and do something interactive at the same time, but I didn't do it. I did try load a project and look if I can find an example of some implementation, especially with the platformer 2D demo. I tried to check for the idea here described, managing in the chapter auto loads versus regular nodes, subsection the cutting audio issue, and I didn't see clearly that implementation and that example demo that actually has the given example sound effect for collecting coin, as a game is a platformer demo collecting coins. And now I'm in the stopping here with the Godot interfaces, because I think I'm not sure how will I exactly go through this in the streams live, or even record this, because anybody can just read through this. But for example, it's still good, worthwhile. At least I read it, I've learned, figured something out, but anybody else should also give it a read. But for interaction, I can't find it useful, and that's why I'll maybe be skipping some of these parts. But I don't suggest anybody to skip. If anybody wants to learn, go through this. But the subjects are a little bit abstract, like a higher level, not as in the skill level, but in the level of conceptualization. I still have a huge appetite for this content, but I really like to. It's kind of grindy, but I would like to get into the more interactive bit. And for example, Godot interfaces. The Godot is actually, and also here in the manual, it describes not just making a game, but also the custom tools that can be built for the custom projects with the Godot, and how would that work with Godot editor and the interfaces. Like mentioned in a moment ago in a previous topic. The previous topic was mentioning the let's say this inbuilt ultimate lightweight object. The original object must use a manual memory management. Well, let's see. Here it mentions the advantages where that some avoiding using nodes for everything, like scripting, for example. Let's say, okay, node is not good for this, maybe I do something with code or do another type of well, how about other objects or classes? So for example, here it's given the ultimate lightweight object for the object, like a original or the root class for nodes and all other objects in the Godot ecosystem, Godot. And here it is mentioning the example, mentioning the fact that there are levels of how deep it goes. It can go, how one can develop and go deep, even in an abstract way or metaphorically behind the editor itself, to the lower base classes. But then we should know that we are losing the visual representation of the implementation and the members of lower level objects in the editor interface. So at one point here is the class that is very low level, but it will reflect its state in the Godot's inspector. So if I try and let's say another scene, new scene, and I want something for a root of the scene, some node. These are the nodes that can be used through the editor in the visual interface, graphic user interface. But there are some objects that are even deeper, that are accessible through scripting. That's the thing. And scripting doesn't have to reflect everything in the user interface. So that this section mostly covered the concept. Well, it's actually not just covering the concept, but it's it is telling how that level of implementation and the level of, well, it's hard to find words to explain. So there it provides a insight and brings up that ability to go deeper than just user interface, and what are the pros or cons in a aspect of the performance and the scope of complexity, and in the scope of the project's complexity. So whether it's better to use scenes to organize a project, or how to balance. It describes, so all these chapters I went so far kind of weights whether use more code, and for performance performance benefits, and for the project management aspect. How much would code implementation make project more complex or harder? So it helps to find one it's trying to advise us about how to balance the project and when to go heavier on scripting, and how much is how good it is just, or benefits, or just working with or how to efficiently use the scenes and nodes and that structure. Well, you're welcome. That's the summary of these 4 hours. I did have a chat here on YouTube with Papa Stuffy. The other chats were silent. Switching here to the outro. This was my learning development in Godot day 10, going through the manual, official documentation on website, and well, I'm your host, Malvi Reddy, who loves you the most, even you. Signing out. See you very soon. I like doing these. Well, I was a curious one. I didn't want my hand guided, and here I was going through the official documentation to get like objective view perspective on the tool, the methodology, philosophy, not to try cut corners in the learning process. Hope you can learn something from me. I mean, from my example, I do this to encourage. I'm not here to give advice, I'm actually learning. Either way, I hope I'll get a better, more efficient approach to doing this on stream, but hey, here we go. Anyway, I need to point out for these recapitulation stream summaries, I will as soon as possible now cut this part of a stream in a standalone episode. Put in the description, there will be a link to my website where I will actually link to a post that will have a title Day 10, and from there I will branch an update for this topic related to this actual stream. What are useful parts of the stream? So if anything new I do and edit this long stream, that will branch out, and the root, the reference for it will be a link that will be with this stream Day 10. I'm not sure will I update also the description for this, for the given summary video, but it will be linked as Day 10. So what's the idea? I realized that segmenting this learning process into days makes more sense, as it doesn't take learning everything going to school on courses takes a couple like school hours, 50-45 minutes. And so someone would take a course like few hours course daily, so it would be day 1, 2, 3 hours, and that's sufficient even in the formal official courses, education, seminars, whatever. So I'll keep that structure. It seems logical, reasonable, efficient. I'm not a professional educator, but I'm not pushing my own ideas. I'm just reading what's the official documentation. I guess that if I stick to that, I'm on the right track, right? The subject topic at this moment was a bit abstract. I'm not the best to elaborate it, but I get the notion about how what's possible to be done, what is potential of Godot, either for developing a exactly the game, or tooling and implementing and extending it. So there is an interface inside to dig deeper. That is just not clear right away in the engine's editor right away. There are still few layers down to the lower level classes, objects, and the code libraries. Thank you all for stopping by. Been great having you around. And the outro section, I guess I prepared it in advance. Yeah, looks ready. Here he goes. Stay safe. Don't do all of the things I would do, or don't do things I wouldn't do. And not because I said so. I have confidence in you. You can handle it.